let's talk about the keys to crypto adoption. Everyone knows what Bitcoin is right now, but really only a small percentage of the global population actually owns it. So I've got a great panel to discuss this with me. I'm joined by Michael Gord from Everscale, Eric Chen from the Injective protocol, and Dave Uhryniak, the Blockchain Strategy Director at TRON. So if you've got any questions as we proceed, do let us know. Get in touch on the Discord channel or drop a comment on YouTube. I'm keeping an eye and I will do shout outs as we get those comments coming in. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us, first of all. And first, we're going to do this. I would like you in 30 seconds to explain what your crypto projects are doing to make crypto easier to use. And Eric, with your multiple camera angles, we'll start with you.
Hey guys, this is Eric from Injective Labs. So Injective Lab focuses on building one of the fastest and scalable blockchain for decentralized finance and order book-based exchange platform. It's currently trying to create the best platform for DeFi developers and provide cross-chain interoperability.
Mm-hmm. And in one sentence, Eric, how are you making crypto easier to use?
Make it faster, cheaper, and a lot more possibilities.
Thank you very much. Michael, over to you.
Thank you, Connor. So I have an ecosystem of companies that are focused across the blockchain capital market, mainly focused on mainstream adoption by helping to bridge the gap between institutional capital markets and digital assets. But specifically with Everscale, it is accelerating adoption of digital assets by being the fastest layer one on the market, with the ability for smart contracts to be executed simultaneously. So there can be a million applications, a million complicated decentralized applications running at the same time without congesting the network like it does with Ethereum.
A million apps at once. That's a that's an amazing achievement, amazing claim. So Dave, 30 seconds. How is your project helping people who are new to crypto?
Yeah, great question, Connor. So TRON is one of the largest blockchain companies in the world. We're one of the 3 largest DeFi platforms, as well as about the 5th largest smart contract platform that's available. And really where we excel, some of the areas we excel really are throughout the blockchain trilemma in terms of speed, scalability, and decentralization. I think we do very well in all of those. Highly secure, extremely decentralized, and very, very fast. Additionally, we have a cross-chain solution called BitTorrent Chain that enables users to immediately be available or have their product or service available on TRON as well as Ethereum and also BNB Smart Chain. And how we're bringing crypto to a wider audience, I think, a couple different ways. First, one of the things we've done recently is develop the algo stablecoin USDD. Algorithmic stablecoins have been in the news. You might have heard about some of the events that have gone on recently.
Just a bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I think they made some headlines, but really ours is very well reserved, and we're growing it slowly and deliberately. And it is really, I think, eventually stable coins, whether algorithmic or otherwise, are really going to be something that helps people make the transition from fiat to crypto, and then get used to using crypto in their daily transactions. Additionally, how we do that is really TRON is arguably, and I would argue, the most accessible, most inclusive blockchain in the world due to its low cost, right? And because it's so inexpensive to develop on TRON, it really broadens the audience of who can participate. So those are really just a couple of the things we're doing to bring blockchain and crypto to the masses.
Fantastic, Dave. Thank you very much. Now,
here's what I want to ask you all. Crypto, still very technical after all of these years. And I was actually going to ask this question anyway, but someone made a very similar point in a previous panel I was hosting. And I want to mention my grandma, who knows what Bitcoin is, knows what cryptocurrencies are. She's in her 80s. And what I'd like to ask is, do you think we'll ever get to a point where crypto is so accessible, so easy to use that it can be picked up by people who don't have that much technical know-how? Michael, I'll start with you on that one.
So you asked how we can help people that don't have technical knowledge with participating in.
Yes. Will we ever get to a point where my 80-year-old grandmother can use crypto without having to take a degree in cryptography?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, crypto now is actually simpler, I think, as a user of crypto than traditional banks. The hard part is that there is some new information that you're looking like you disagree with me. The result is simpler. The usage of it, though, requires some education that we don't grow up with. But similar to the internet, in 1990, to use the internet, you would have needed to understand what HTTPS is or what IP addresses are and all that stuff. And now you can use the internet by clicking a button and writing a word into Google, and it's been made a lot simpler. The blockchain is being rebuilt. The entire internet today is being rebuilt on the blockchain to be decentralized and to incorporate this new value proposition of ownable assets, provable ownership of assets in a decentralized way. We just need a nicer user interface for the masses to be able to use it without understanding, mnemonic phrases and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you kind of hit the nail on the head, and which I was scrunching my head, and I was going to say, scrunching my face, and I was going to say user interfaces are a bit of a challenge. I was also going to say that in some cases, if things go wrong for someone who owns crypto, sometimes there isn't a customer service number for them to call. They're on their own. So that's why I was going to challenge you on the assertion that it's easier than traditional banks. But Eric,
the recovery is certainly easier with the traditional model. I say it's more complicated, or I say it's simpler if you understand the back end, because I can move $1 to China using crypto, and I can't move $1 to China in the traditional system without spending $40 and going to the bank.
Yes,
so
that's a very good point.
But it is the simplicity is after understanding the backend processes and stuff. Which
I fully take your point on the cross-border payments. You're absolutely spot on there. Eric, over to you. What do you think?
I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because generally for protocol, and we've seen this in Web 2, is that web infrastructure and base layer protocols are generally not really immediately palpable or displayed to the front-end user. So if you're looking at the application layer, a strong and powerful blockchain will be powering thousands and thousands of applications. But at the end of the day, the application is the one that interfaces with the user. It's their job to kind of create the best possible experience, onboarding flow, to make sure that they have a really, really great time enjoying the product without even realizing that it's powered by blockchain. It's like you're not seeing, like, I remember there was a tweet where you're not seeing Airbnb, saying that they're powered by AWS on their front page. So that's where I see the overall kind of crypto adoption is going. They might realize, hey, there's USDC, USDT, or whatever in terms of like the value transfer. That's just going to be, kind of like this intermediary. And from that point on, it's really about interacting with the application. For example, it could be a savings product where you deposit your cash and it gets converted into USDT or USDC, and you get to see, like a 7% yield without even realizing it was DeFi and blockchain powering it. And for Injective, it's the same case. It builds a lot of financial modules for DeFi developers so that they can plug and play with the offering to create any type of DeFi application, whether that be a savings product for people to kind of deposit maybe cash or stablecoin without even realizing it's being powered by Injective, or it could be some of the more interesting like betting platform or prediction market platform, or even like a strategy or asset management products and so forth. I think that's how the users are going to truly interface with blockchain. It's, wrapped by application with a very, very unique product market fit that can really, really address users' needs. Because at the end of the day, there are so much more opportunities. The financial infrastructure is a lot more efficient within the blockchain or the Web3 space compared to the traditional financial world.
Yeah, and you make a really good point, Eric, just simply about the fact that, Airbnb doesn't have powered by AWS on its front page. And MasterCard executive was recently talking about the fact that crypto and blockchain need to be invisible in the user journey so people don't notice. So throwing that into the mix, Dave, what do you think? Is there any hope for my grandma?
I think soon your granny will be able to use crypto when she goes to the grocery store to buy whatever it is she purchases there. And yeah, I saw those comments from MasterCard as well. And I think what that really means is that we have to stop talking about there being two sets of finance and they have to become just how finance works, right? If there isn't traditional finance, there won't be, kind of alt finance or crypto finance. It will just become how finance works. And that's going to take certainly a few more years and see much more integration of the kind of what we see right now in DeFi in terms of wallets and other components into more traditional finance. But I think there's, at least in the US, there's a few things going on that are probably limiting broader adoption. And one of the things I think that needs to be done is, overall as an industry, we need to create, or there's an opportunity to create better options that allow holders of crypto to be able to maintain their investment positions, but then still use crypto to transact day to day. Because, 88% of crypto holders in the US view it as investments, right? They don't view it as some type of transactional currency that they're going to use day to day, right? Yeah. And in addition to that, even if they did want to use it, it might be very difficult because such a small percentage, less than 0.5% of US retailers accept crypto. So it really is going to be kind of almost a chicken and the egg situation where consumer demand is going to have to convince retailers that they need to accept crypto payments to maintain their market.
Yeah, you make a really good point. I mean, there was this Federal Reserve report a few days ago that was saying that only a tiny fraction of Americans use crypto for payments. And if they are doing so, they're highly likely to not have a bank account or not have a credit card. So it's really being used by the unbanked. But my question to you then, Dave, I'll stick with you on this one, is when it comes to payments specifically, is volatility crypto's biggest weakness?
Yes. Well, I don't know if it's its biggest weakness. It's a weakness. I think there are other issues that probably supersede volatility, but that's where I think the opportunity comes in to offer something that provides crypto holders options to use it as a payment. So, for example, I mean, we have seen some larger company, Visa and MasterCard and others both have cards that provide crypto rewards, but they don't have cards that provide options to pay in crypto or to pay in cash, right? So in periods of volatility, volatility to the upside, people might choose to pay with their crypto. Volatility to the downside, they might choose to pay in cash and maintain their position, right? Yeah. So it's not a one-way situation. So I think volatility shouldn't be viewed as really a deterrent to spending. I think we need to come up with better options to make it possible for consumers to benefit from the volatility.
Yes, that's a very good point. And I was talking at Bitcoin 2022 in Miami to Raj Damodaran from MasterCard, and he was saying that what they're trying to do is they're trying to give consumers at some point the choice of whether they want to pay using crypto or cash. They're not taking a view on whether crypto or cash is better. They just want to give people the option. But Michael, if you want to jump in here, what are the big barriers we're seeing to widespread adoption?
I think that the two are education and scalability. scalability is, I think, simpler to chat about, and that's just that most people are building and thinking about Ethereum, which is just too expensive to reach enterprise scale today. Like if an enterprise, or if Justin Bieber sends out a tweet that millions of people start to engage with the Ethereum blockchain, it just makes transactions only affordable to rich people. Certainly not a mainstream market. And Ethereum has been trying to scale for the past few years to meet the market needs. I would say pretty unsuccessfully, at least to date. So yeah, scalability is certainly needed for mainstream adoption, or for applications, decentralized applications that are building on the blockchain to use more scalable technology that is like Everscale. And from a education perspective, most of the world still doesn't understand the value proposition of digital assets or NFTs or the metaverse or anything. They just aren't even aware of it. So
that's a really good point, Michael. And I'm going to come to you, Eric, now and ask you a bit more about this. But I'll first read out a comment from Dawn Duncan, enjoying this panel discussion very much. Thank you very much. I'll pay you later for that one. Thank you. Eric, over to you. And expanding on what Michael said there, is the crypto industry doing a good enough job in reaching everyday people? I think we probably know the answer to that, but perhaps to put it a different way, what should the crypto industry be doing better to reach everyday people? What's the solution to this?
Yeah, so obviously it depends on every single ecosystem and every single application. And from Injective's perspective, within the first month of launch, I believe there's already been like $1 billion in cumulative volume, 7 billion so far, a few months. And even to this day, like with so much volume and kind of activity, it's only probably maintained by a few like institutional parties or, a few quote unquote like high net worth or high capital individuals. And really what's preventing from like the everyday folks and the general public to really get exposed to blockchain, to really interact with and to really adopt blockchain, I would say is, first of all, the transactions cost and the entire concept of interacting natively with a blockchain, with an address, and dealing with gas fees, dealing with MetaMask, it's highly unintuitive for a normal person. And for that reason, basically, number one is that it would have to be like a gradual mindset shift or like a kind of user shift. So generally adoption like comes in two ways. Number one is the user adopts to it, they change their behavior for it. Or number two, the product adopts the user. It really could go both ways. If the product is offering a lot of possibility, a lot of value, then the user will adopt the product. And I think the overall crypto space and the overall Web3 space, with their really, really powerful yields, with their really, really powerful financial opportunities, and also value proposition, can definitely go for the approach one, because at the end of the day, by being a competitor to banks, by being a competitor to a lot of traditional financial infrastructure, you probably can't really change the user's mind that they've gotten used to for decades, if not hundreds of years. So the only way to do it, or like the best way or the fastest way to do it, is to try to change the user's mindset by building out communities and building out applications that they really care about, that it's really serving like an unmet need. And then they onboard to MetaMask or some other wallets for the first time. They like the experience because to this day I still hate sending out wires, but MetaMask is just one click of a button at the end of the day. That's how we get mainstream adoption. That's how we that's how people every day start sending each other tokens, and that's how people talk about or interact with things. Even for the application layer, that would be a very, very nice hook. If there's some application that onboards very, very easily, gets them into the crypto sphere, and basically from that point on, they'll understand the value proposition of the infrastructure.
Excellent. So we've got 2 questions left, and I'm going to do quick fire ones. So if you can answer in 30 seconds, I'll ask each of you these 2 questions. Starting with Michael, what do you think has been the biggest milestone for crypto adoption so far? Because this panel is looking ahead at the challenges, but also we're trying to reflect on how far things have come already, right?
El Salvador accepting Bitcoin as legal tender, I would say, is number one.
Yeah, very well put. Dave, you're not allowed the same one. Have you got a different one?
Not El Salvador. Yeah, the biggest milestone for crypto adoption.
Or another big milestone.
Yeah, another big milestone. I would think you're starting to see, two things. One, first on the institutional side, you're starting to see traditional Wall Street firms like Goldman Sachs really begin to move into the crypto space with trading, with NFTs, with a variety of other tokenizations. And then on the retail side, seeing major retailers, high-end retailers to start, but hopefully it trickles down, like Tag Heuer and I believe Gucci are both accepting crypto. I think those are also key milestones along the path, and hopefully we begin to see more of both of those.
Yeah, Gucci's a particularly interesting one, isn't it? They're trialing it at a few stores at the moment. And then later this year, it'll go to all American stores. And it's not just Bitcoin you can use. I think you can use like things like Dogecoin and Shiba Inu as well. So, Eric, we've had El Salvador. We've had institutions and retailers getting involved in crypto. Any other big milestones for crypto you'd like to add to the list?
Damn, you guys kind of took the good ones. I'm going to be a little bit here in the response. I think the best driver for adoption, and so far what helped us the most, is the failure of the incumbent. The Fed inflation, the failure of GameStop and a lot of the equity market for the users halting trading and so forth, and the overall response from the government on COVID instances. Really the distrust in a centralized institution, and more importantly, kind of realizing that you don't have much power as a general user or retailer is going to be the biggest driver in the long run for people to on board.
Brilliant. Okay, then. So we've got one last question. And I just need a number from you, gentlemen. And I'll start with you, Eric. It's only fair because considering Dave and Michael stole your thunder a bit there with that question, through no fault of their own, I should add. How many people, Eric, will be using crypto in 5 years' time?
It depends whether it means that you're touching it intimately, sending tokens every day, or having an address and making transactions. Or just being able to interact with it, or touching blockchain in a certain way. I think the former would be probably hundreds of millions, perhaps. Obviously, with a lot more concentration within, relatively, unfortunately, more developed countries due to the transaction costs inherently. Right. But I think implicitly, interacting with something that is supported by blockchain, that has blockchain working in the back end, or investing into something that has DeFi in it, billions.
Thank you. Dave, you've got 30 seconds. How many people will be using crypto in 5 years?
In the US, 80% of US consumers will be using crypto in some form or fashion, either as investment or spending.
That's really interesting.
You're going to see what would that be, a threefold, fourfold increase of the 23% of holders now over the next 5 years. So
that's really substantial. Michael, what about you? You've got 30 seconds. How many crypto users in 5 years?
In 5 years, 1 billion daily active users of Web3 applications.
Ooh, big numbers. Thank you all. And just a comment here, crypto is going to be the foundation stone for world unity and familiarity, ease and access. So with that, that's the last panel of this conference, CoinMarketCap's Capital Conference. Thank you to Eric, Dave and Michael for an amazing panel. And coming up next, our very own Molly Jane Zuckerman has got some closing remarks as we conclude a fantastic 2 days. Stay watching this live stream. Molly Jane's up next. Thank you.